Making a cameo appearance today, Mr. Rat Fink. Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew, and on the bench today is a 1:64 scale 1933 Ford Coupe. I got this in a recent mail call from friend of the channel, Guy Young. Anybody remember the DARE program? This one's all hot rodded out with an exposed engine and headers, authentic period grille, open wheels, all plastic though. This is my entry to the February Four Horsemen invitational on the theme of rat rods. I invite you to visit the channels of my Four Horsemen colleagues, and this month we welcome BJ's Customs as our guest horseman. Looking ahead, you'll see there are 2 different builds for March, and remember that you're invited to join us. I hope you will. When Ford introduced this new variant of its model in February 1933, the changes were substantial. The grille was revised, gaining a pointed forward slope at the bottom that kind of looked like either a spade or a medieval shield. Both the grille and hood louvers curved down and forward. In addition, there were more rounded and skirted fenders and new, elegantly bowed bumpers. Headlamp support bars were gone, and there were new wire wheels. The car's got a new dashboard with instruments set in an oval insert in front of the driver. There was a glove box on the passenger side. There were 10 body styles, all available with V8s. The most expensive car in the line, the Woody, cost US $590 with the 4-cylinder engine. With mine all broken down now and all the parts gathered together, I can put it into the spray booth with the ventilator fan on and an adjacent window open. I find doing it this way saves me an awful lot of product. I'm cheap, if nothing else. It was right about this time that I realized I had left that black glass inside the casting, so we can say goodbye to that now. I'm cheap and negligent. After about 10 minutes with some rotary tool attachments, I've got a nicely cleaned up casting. There are no obvious defects, but there is one thing I need to attend to. The removal of that light bar on the roof left a couple of prominent holes that need to be filled in now. So it's out with the JB Quick, which I'm always careful to seal up tight after use, so it lasts a long time. I'm taking a page out of the Silva Die-Cast Customs playbook, filling these from the inside with a piece of tape over the roof. That means that when I remove the tape, there's as little sanding as possible. Good tip, Jim. As this is going to be a rat rod, rust is one of the key features. For those projects, I use a rust-colored primer from a spray can. March is Porsche month here at Maple Leaf Customs, so I'm starting with a 356A Speedster barn find to warm you up for my all Porsche Invitational, a big annual event. You can see the next couple of Four Horsemen build themes here, two of them in March, with a decal project sandwiched in between. All good reasons for you to get subbed up. It doesn't cost you a thing, and I appreciate your continued support. The 1932 and 34 model year Fords are extremely popular with hot rodders. Today the Roadster and Coupe are the most sought after body styles, making unmodified examples rare. Since the 70s, bodies and frames have been reproduced either in fiberglass or lately in steel, which has increased the number of cars being created or restored, typically as hot rods. Today's community shoutout goes to Sean Stafford, who features diecast as well as all kinds of different collectibles and things. A very interesting channel. Please check it out by following the link I've left in the description. Thank you. A rat rod is a custom car with a deliberately worn down, unfinished appearance, typically lacking paint, showing rust, and made from cheap or cast-off parts. These parts can include non-automotive items that have been repurposed, such as a rifle used as a gear shifter, wrenches as door handles, or I've seen hand saws as sun visors. The rat rod, however it's finished, uniquely conveys its builder's imagination. I used a couple of rust decals that I created to help achieve that look. Now I'm using a little piece of sponge to dab on a variety of rust colors. The more you add, the richer the rust patina becomes. The reason for the hot pink roof will become evident in a couple of minutes. But I don't want it to be too hot, so I dull it down a little bit with some black wash that I rub off with my finger. A couple of mud splashes give me the final effect that I'm looking for. The original Matchbox casting had the grille attached to the exposed engine. I'm going to separate them now very carefully, and you can count my fingers before and after. I want the grille, but I'm going to swap the original engine out for this 3D printed one. I've added a fan belt to it, a little bit of electrical tape. Now to replace the windows that I melted away. Sometimes I use a little bit of clear plastic cut to size, but today I'm going to fill them in with some micro crystal clear because the openings are quite small. This is another Jim Silva trick. I've done it a couple of times. Takes a little bit of practice to pull the wet crystal clear from end to end, top to bottom. Looks like white glue, but that's going to dry and leave a thin but perfectly acceptable clear covering. The Rat Fink 3D model looks like this. And when I printed, I was most happy to see the detail in the teeth and the hair, knuckles and fingernails. He's going to sit right up on top there. But first I'm going to drop the new engine in between the headers. Had to do a little bit of shaping and shaving on the bottom. The original grille goes back right in front. Not quite touching the pavement, but pretty low. And a couple of screws to tighten it up. You can see a couple of brass axle tubes that I positioned front and back. They're going to receive these new Samed dragster wheels. It's a matching set. The axles weren't quite long enough, so I use a household straight pin. The pin head on one end and the other side I just glue it in place. perfectly free to roll, as you can see here. I made a miniature tin of coffee out of a piece of styrene rod and a decal. In keeping with the rat rod theme, it's going to serve as an oil filter. Now to explain my hot pink choice for a roof, it's because I've got a fluorescent green driver for contrast. Painted up beautifully. I think I captured all the detail. I had to cut off the stick shift and create my own, again from a straight pin. Lots of super glue, because there's no seat belts here. And he proudly pops right up through the roof opening. I apply a little more black wash and attend to a few other sundry details like the brake lights. There's a custom MLC license plate with the build number. This rat rod is all buttoned up. Let's have a closer look. It's still unmistakably a 33 Ford Coupe. I didn't chop the top, the stance and the ride height are the same, but bigger dragster wheels on the back, rusted out in rat rod fashion, a replacement 3D printed engine, an oil filter. I made up a couple of custom rust decals with the old Indian motorcycle's crest half torn away on a replacement door panel. And Mr. Rat Fink feverishly powering it down the drag strip. Burnout. Here's the original Matchbox casting in the Dare livery with some lights on top. That's the original motor and plastic wheels. And here's my rat rod rendition. Super fun to work on this one. And I'm sure there are going to be all kinds of creative entries. Oh, that Rat Fink is out of control. I invite you to leave your respectful comments below. And my thanks to BJ's Customs for being our guest horseman this month. Make sure you visit his channel. If you have participated, don't forget to send your glamour shots in and use hashtag 4Horsemen Diecast in the title or description of your upload if you have a social media platform. Thanks for visiting my channel again today. Drive carefully. It's coffee time.